You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, Fort Scott Community College is celebrating a local legend this week. Very own Lonnie Walton shares why his legacy means so much to the community.
Also, the city of Girard is working on updating its sidewalks across the community. Our very own Melissa Alexis will share those details.
And we've got ourselves another hot day across the 4 states. Take a look at that forecast, get you out the door. Coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner, just after 7 a.m. on this Friday morning.
Yes.
It's October the 4th, by the way. Yeah. Not August the 4th, not September the 4th.
And it's not Tuesday.
It's not Tuesday.
With us this week, you know that he thinks that every single day is Tuesday.
It's just something about the month starting on Tuesday. Yeah, it's just not right. But yeah, it's not Tuesday. It's Friday. We've made it to the weekend, and very big celebration going on in Fort Scott.
The Gordon Park celebration is underway at Fort Scott Community College. The Parks grew up in Fort Scott and is remembered as one of the first African Americans to work for Life and Vogue magazines.
KOAM's Lonnie Walton catches up with Parks' family and friends to see why his legacy means so much to the community.
The thing about exposure for young people is them seeing someone do something who looks like them. And I was able to see him be a director and be in the film business.
Kakai Ampa is friends with Gordon Parks. He says Parks' story is essential to the community and the country because prejudice is everywhere.
When our history is being taken out of schools, our history is being threatened to be told in a way other people really want it to be told. So we need to know about not just him, but the stories he covered.
David Parks is Gordon Parks' son. He says he has a strong connection with Fort Scott, but not just because his dad was born here.
I helped form the museum 20 years ago, so helped raise the money, get it organized.
Although Parks never received a degree, he was recognized for his work.
Gordon Parks didn't graduate from high school. Gordon Parks wound up with over 50 honorary doctorate degrees and never graduated from high school. But that was a different time.
Parks hopes his father's life touches all those who come across his story.
Well, he has a hell of a legacy.
Reporting in Fort Scott, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Events are scheduled through the weekend with the celebration ending on Sunday with a breakfast.
Certainly an impressive celebration, an impressive man up there. I've had the privilege of covering this event in the past. It's a very cool thing. So if you have time, head up to Fort Scott.
Absolutely.
Visit and then check out Fort Scott. There's a lot to do in Fort Scott on top of the Parks celebration up there. So go have some fun. And it's going to be, you want to dress short sleeve shirt if you go out because it is going to be a bit on the hot side. Live look from our camera downtown Pittsburgh. Clear skies out there looking pretty good. Same from our camera at 7th and Range Line in Joplin. And as we head down south to the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line, we got folks lining up at the light. They aren't crashing. That's always fantastic. Traffic is moving. Of course, the roads are clear, skies are clear, everything is straight up clear. KDOT camera 69 and East 520th Avenue. Great reminder. Safety corridor or not, don't speed. It's not a good idea. It's not safe. It's not worth it, okay? So read that sign. Heed what it says. Don't speed. Let's take a look at this. Now, this is something that is unusual for our area. We have air quality alerts, and I've seen them around bigger cities as close as Tulsa, but I've never actually seen them reach into our area, at least not in the last 2.5 years I've been doing the weather here. But we do have them. Washington, Newada, Craig counties, air quality alerts out there for today. And what that means is ozone is settling down toward the surface, which can lead to problems for folks with respiratory issues, can also damage vegetation. We also have stations reporting moderate air quality outside of that zone, so it is something to keep in mind if you're a little more sensitive and you're outside today. Southwest winds around 5 to 10 miles an hour today. Temperatures once again 10-15 degrees above normal out there, already above normal. 63 in Joplin, 60 in Pittsburgh, and remember we should be in the low 50s. And we are not. We're in the upper 50s and low 60s as we get this Friday underway. So again, hot Upper 80s, low 90s, sunny skies out there. The heat continues into Saturday. It will get windy again on Saturday. And then there's some slight changes next week. We'll talk about all those in the full forecast, and that's coming up in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon. Well, Joplin police released new information on a crash stemming from a traffic stop Wednesday, including fresh charges. Officers trying to stop the vehicle when they suspected the driver was intoxicated. Now, police pursued the vehicle, but the chase ended when the vehicle crashed into another one at the intersection of 20th and Connecticut. Now, the driver of the other vehicle suffered minor injuries. Police arrested both the driver and the passenger in the fleeing vehicle. Authorities say the driver, Dakota Bell of Alba, Missouri, is formally charged with Valentine's Law, which is aggravated fleeing a stop, in addition to felony DWI and persistent and felony possession of drug paraphernalia. Now, the passenger, Jessica Van Kirk of Webb City, was arrested on active felony probation violation warrants for drug-related charges. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, the city of Girard is working on a project to create safer, more walkable sidewalks. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
One of the sidewalks the city of Girard plans to repair is the one near the Girard Public Library on West Prairie Street. Sophia Stapleton, a librarian, says this will increase safety for kids walking to the library.
A lot of kids and teens walk in this town, so, them being able to do that safely.
She also says this will make it much safer for people with disabilities as they navigate the sidewalk.
Even sidewalks are really beneficial for people with disabilities. It can be kind of the typical disabilities you think about with that, like people in wheelchairs or using mobility aids. But it can also be really helpful for the visually impaired.
Actually attended the Special Olympics yesterday, and I was there talking to some of the participants and their parents, and they were really excited to hear that the city was making efforts to install ADA compliant sidewalks.
The city of Girard is planning to make repairs to sidewalks that have cracks and are a hazard, and they're also planning to build new sidewalks in areas that need them.
People in wheelchairs especially, the ramps will be there and the sidewalks will be wider to accommodate them.
The city administrator says she already has heard positive feedback from the community about their sidewalk repair plans. Reporting in Girard, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
The city of Girard has a plan for specific sidewalks. They are planning to repair such as on West St. John Street, and they hope to get the project completed by the end of the year. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, it's been a week since Hurricane Helene made its way through the southeast. We'll have the details on how workers are getting aid to hard-to-reach communities. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from the Funkin' Patch located in Columbus, Kansas. Topping Nation Watch this morning, a federal judge puts another hold on President Joe Biden's student loan cancellation plan. A Missouri district judge granted an injunction from 6 Republican-led states to block the cancellation, claiming it is unlawful. The state of Missouri filed a lawsuit against the potential plan on behalf of loan servicer Moella, which it argues would lose revenue if the plan was enacted. The plan was expected to at least partially cancel debt for about 30 million people. The strike at the ports along the nation's eastern Gulf Coast is over. The International Longshoremen Association and the United States Maritime Alliance announced they have reached a tentative deal on wages yesterday evening. A source says the agreement on wages amounts to a $4 per hour raise for each year of the 6-year contract. The union agreed to extend the contract that expired earlier this week until January 15th, while the full agreement is worked on. As a result, the 50,000 union members will return to the job today. More aid is starting to trickle into hard-hitting areas of the southeast as the death toll from Hurricane Helene passes 200. Fox News correspondent Caroline Elliott has more from Swanoa, North Carolina.
plan to be here as long as the community needs us.
Plenty of help starting to get to hard-hit areas of the southeast after a direct hit from Hurricane Helene 1 week ago. There are hundreds dead and missing, hundreds of thousands without power, but we're also seeing plenty of hope and resilience here, with neighbors helping neighbors as the damage assessment continues.
It was amazing to see that community come together. Seeing those people risking their lives for others is very, very important.
There's no telling how many homes and businesses were damaged or destroyed. Some hard-hit communities were essentially wiped off the map, but despite the widespread devastation, most folks in the region say they want to stay and rebuild.
I feel so bad for everybody, and everybody says, I'm sorry, and everybody's sorry, and now it's time to go back to work, and let's get it done.
FEMA and other government agencies are now deploying in big numbers, but transportation remains a major issue. Hundreds of roads are still closed, meaning food and water are becoming scarce in some isolated communities. President Biden visited the region for a second straight day on Thursday, telling folks they won't be left behind.
3 in a row, you've been through hell. 3 in a row. And I want you to know, I see you, I hear you, I agree with you, and I promise you we have your back.
One small sign of hope is power outages are slowly getting better in this area. You can see crews behind us working now, which is one small sign of hope for the families that live here. In Swannanoa, North Carolina, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
And those are our top Nation Watch stories. Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got air quality alerts out there. We want to quickly mention again Washington, Newada, and Craig counties. These will run through today. We do have moderate air quality reports in other parts of the area as well. So if you are sensitive to this kind of situation, just keep that in mind if you're heading outside today. We'll have another complete look at your forecast here in just a moment. And coming up a little later, bullying of any kind can be traumatic. But now with the addition of AI, there may be more red flags to look for when it comes to cyberbullying. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's about to be 7:17 on this Friday morning. And a quick reminder again on those air quality alerts through today for Washington, Newada, and Craig counties out there. And we have stations reporting moderate air quality outside of that zone as well. So again, this means ozone settling down by the surface. This can cause issues for folks with respiratory problems. It can also damage vegetation. And there's some tips online on what you can do in order to help reduce emissions out there. Good ways to carpooling. Don't mow your lawn today. And granted that we haven't had that much rain, your lawn shouldn't need any mowing today as it is. Heading on to the future track. So we've got a cold front that's going to pass through a little later this evening. You will not notice it has passed through, but it will show up here very briefly. That little wind shift line that kind of comes in and then it very quickly fades away. Yeah, that's all we're going to get. Otherwise, it's going to be hot, sunny, dry out there. Temperatures 10-15 degrees above normal. Will be mild and above normal again tonight. Now tomorrow, winds will pick up out of the south, gusting occasionally upwards of 20 miles an hour, and we will still be 10 to 15 degrees above normal on our Saturday, and that will continue until Sunday. And then early Sunday, we have another cold front that's going to come through. We won't really notice this one, but there's one key sign it's going to leave behind is northerly winds by Sunday. Now, if you're up in our northern counties, you'll still be above normal, but you're going to be a little cooler than where you have been. We're talking maybe 5 or 6 degrees above normal. The further south you get, yeah, you'll have that north breeze, but unfortunately, it's only going to be a few degrees cooler than where we've been the last, where we were yesterday, where we're going to be today and tomorrow. So it won't be a noticeable difference, and unfortunately, it's also not bringing any rain chances with it either. Right now, we got a great view of that sunrise from 7th and Range Line in Joplin at 63, south-southeast breeze at about 3. Dew point humidity have come up just a bit, which is helpful because the air has been extraordinarily dry. Here's that first cold front that'll come through later this evening, kind of starting to push in around Yates Center, but as you can see, it's not really having any major impact on temperatures. We're all still above normal, upper 50s, low 60s to get this day underway. Sunny skies out there, mid 60s to start, low 80s by 11 o'clock this morning ahead of a very hot day once again, at least hot for October standards. Sunny skies, southwest winds 5 to 10, temperatures upper 80s and low 90s. Then we head into this evening and clear skies continue. Mild mid 70s by 10. Overnight lows 10, 12 degrees above normal as we fall back into the low to mid 60s tonight. We're going to be hot again tomorrow. Low 90s out there, breezy. Then it'll be a little cooler Sunday, mid 80s. A little closer to normal for more of us on Monday. In fact, about average lows Sunday night into Monday. However, short-lived, temperatures will begin to climb back up into the upper 80s, maybe even some low 90s. However, some information coming out, some long-range data suggesting a little more moisture coming in next week. So while it will make it feel a bit on the muggy side out there from day to day, it will also bring us at least some slight pop-up shower and thunderstorm chances. And while those chances are slight, they're certainly better than the 0% chances that we've been seeing over the last several days. That's a check of your forecast. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this. While bullying of any kind can cause traumatic responses, educators continue raising red flags when it comes to AI.
The capabilities of artificial intelligence to create more alarming types of harassment. Fox News correspondent Chanley Painter investigates.
While powerful artificial intelligence software can be used for good, technology experts are warning how school bullies can turn this tool into a weapon, creating a host of cyberbullying materials that make their victims' life worse.
Cyberbullying is a pretty broad term, but essentially it's the use of an electronic device or electronic communications to harass.
According to Dr. Catherine Siegfried Speller of Purdue University, deepfakes generated by AI programs are intensifying the online attacks.
Anybody can create an image that looks so realistic and then use it to harass or embarrass another individual. And because AI looks, again, so realistic, people can't tell the difference. And it makes it really difficult for victims to be able to claim that that is not a true representation of who they are.
Bullying in any form can be painful. The CDC says victims can face elevated risk for depression, anxiety, and sleep disorders, as well as experience academic hurdles and even drop out of school. Meanwhile, Dr. Siegfried Speller says parents should monitor kids for a phenomenon called self-cyberbullying.
Essentially, the minor creates a fake, account online and they harass themselves. And they're doing this partially for attention-seeking behaviors, but also because the minors believe that other people are bullying them. So if they are the ones that bully themselves first, that maybe it will decrease the likelihood of other people attacking them.
Researchers say roughly 6 to 12% of minors report engaging in this kind of digital self-harm. I'm Chanley Painter, Fox News.
You know, AI is so scary and it's so vast with its capabilities. So just the fact that, it's another thing we just have to keep in mind as, AI develops. So.
Yeah, it's one of those things like used properly, it can have some fantastic benefits. And it's proven that. Unfortunately, it's also readily available to be used improperly as well. And so it's a matter of trying to find a way to balance that.
Absolutely. Well, coming up, our very own Samantha Walker goes more in-depth as to who we are actually voting for when we head to the polls.
And as the sun rises this morning, it's going to be another hot and sunny day. Look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:28. I'm Elise Snowy. The 41st annual Grand Lake Pelican Festival takes flight in Grove, Oklahoma this week. The event celebrates the annual fall migration of the American white pelican's return to Grand Lake, the Cherokees. Now, the 3-day event kicked off last night with a carnival.
Came to ride the roundup, and I wanted to get some funnel cakes and bring my son down here to ride some rides.
The event will also include a Miss Pelican Festival pageant, a parade, a car show, and arts and crafts, food vendors, and more fun for the whole family. Well, it's not really possible to give enough thanks to the first responders who do so much to protect all of us every day. But this is a start. KOAM yesterday hosted a simple little cookout lunch for area responders just outside our studio.
Our goal today is to make sure that everybody that comes through just knows that they're so appreciated. We're thankful for all that they do, not just in the line of duty, but so many of them volunteer outside of their normal work hours, and they're giving back to the community. And so we just want them to know today and every day that we appreciate them, and we want to celebrate them today.
In addition to a free lunch, first responders from around the area also got a little tour of our studio and building. There are plenty of pumpkin farms to visit this fall, but there is one that stands out. Rock Barn Pumpkin Farm features a 150-year-old rock barn, as well as hay rides, fall flowers, apple cider, and of course, pumpkins.
A lot of people say that they like that it's not so contrived. So a good setting and lots of good photo ops and more old-fashioned-y and not so modern.
Well, Rock Barn Pumpkin Farm is open every week now till October 13th and again on October 20th. Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're starting with a live look from our camera downtown Pittsburgh. You can see the sun is rising. Skies are clear once again out there. Same from our camera at 7th and Range Line. Sun peeking up behind the trees here. We'll head down south to the MoDOT camera. 20th and Range Line real quick. Looking back to the southwest. Looking pretty good as folks continue to get their day underway out there this morning. And the KDOT camera south of Pittsburgh on 69 at East 520th Avenue. A few more cars on the road. So, of course, make sure you don't speed. Drive safely out there. I know it's Friday. We're excited to get the day over with, but we still got to get through it. We do have air quality alerts. Washington, Nevada, Craig counties in northeastern Oklahoma. Again, something that's rare for our viewing area. They're usually confined to metro areas or places where there are wildfires burning, but they are extending into our viewing area. So that means ozone is building up near the surface. That can cause issues for folks with respiratory problems, and it can also damage vegetation. There are tips online on what you can do to help out. And we've also got moderate air quality reports coming in from other stations in the area. So something to keep in mind if you're a little more sensitive and you're heading outside today. Southwest winds about 5 to 10 miles an hour today. We have a cold front coming through that we will not notice, but it will push through, and we'll still be 10 to 15 degrees above normal. Already above normal this morning. 63 Joplin, 61 in Pittsburgh. There's that cold front. Like I said, we won't even notice it, but it is there. And we've got temperatures upper 50s and low 60s as we start this Friday. Highs today, once again, upper 80s and low 90s with sunny skies across the area. Not as breezy today. Now the heat continues tomorrow. The winds return tomorrow. And then we have another cold front that'll bring us some slight changes. Details on that in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, voters head to the polls on November 5th to decide the next president. But on Election Day, are you really voting for a candidate or are you voting for a party? Okay, when Samantha Walker talked with the Missouri Secretary of State to learn more about how the process of electing a president works.
When we vote in November, we will be voting to decide which party gets to choose our president. Is really what happens.
As voters head to the polls this November, their votes will help decide the next president of the United States. Some states, such as Missouri and Kansas, list only the presidential candidates on their ballots. Others, like Oklahoma, make it clear that voters are technically selecting the electors who participate in the Electoral College. Voters are not truly voting for the next commander-in-chief. Those electors were selected by their political party in each state, whether it be Democrat, Republican, or Independent.
If you vote for Kamala Harris, then what you're really doing is you're voting to allow the Democrat presidential electors for Missouri to vote. If you vote for Donald Trump, then you're really voting to allow the Republican presidential electors to vote.
To win, a presidential ticket must receive 270 votes from the electors. Arkansas and Kansas both have 6. Oklahoma has 7, and Missouri gets 10 electoral votes. All 4 are winner-take-all states. This means all their Electoral College votes will go to the candidate who wins the popular vote in that state. The Electoral College will meet December 17th to select the next president and vice president of the United States of America. Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Next week, we'll continue our conversation with Secretary Ashcroft, learning more about election results and how they're certified. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Shannon Becker joins us this morning with his big 3 news stories of the week. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from the Funkin Patch in Columbus, Kansas. Welcome back. We've got Shannon Becker in the studio with his big 3 news stories of the week. Good morning, Shannon.
Good morning. Friday's here.
Yes, it is.
All right, let's take a look at the top 3 big live and local stories of the week right here at KOAM News Now. It was a trailer full of energy drinks. Now, not the most popular energy drink, so I'm not sure everybody was really sad about it. You ever heard of the Body Glove energy drink?
Never in my life.
I have not either. Well, a whole trailer full of them burned. It started out as smoke coming out from underneath a trailer at the fuel pumps at Love's on 43 Highway and I-44. The driver thought, hey, I'm going to pull forward. He pulled forward, unhooked his truck. He was out of further in the parking lot, safe away from the fuel islands, and that thing became fully involved. Joplin Fire got it under control pretty quick, but it was a long cleanup all through the night. Our number 2 story, Joplin News First. The big old crane. It's called a page 618 walking drag line. It's a piece of Southeast Kansas history. They're preparing to move it to a permanent display, 69 and 47, just north of Pittsburgh. Ozark Crane were here the other day. We got to carry it live. It was kind of neat. They didn't really know exactly what was going to happen when they unhooked the cables, and they're lowering this huge boom to the ground. They're just preparing to move it, but that's the tip of it. You know, you saw that little bitty tip there. It's gargantuan. It's like 6 feet tall. Like, it's a huge piece of equipment. So it'll be really interesting next couple of months. Hopefully they'll be able to get that more prepared and ready to move. That'll be an event for sure. Our number 1 story. 2 people arrested, something you're talking about, I know today. 2 people wanted on felony warrants were fleeing Joplin police the other day. They didn't necessarily know until things had kind of advanced a little bit who it actually was. Now they've both been charged more charges regarding that pursuit. They hit a gentleman, I guess you could say an uninvolved bystander in a car, hit his car. He was not injured. More details if you want to read up KOAM News Now on our Joplin News First tab. And then the bonus story of the week. I don't know if anybody remembers Drake and More. Okay, it's a great place for kids. That's the big castle that was getting blown up. Now, they don't open till the middle of the month. All the kids stuff opens at the middle of the month. But tonight, all the real scary stuff.
I went to this one last
year. You did? Okay.
Yes.
So these are all the different ones. We'll have a list for you on our website. You just have to click that little news tab there. That's a big thing for a lot of people. I'm not a big spook house person.
I'm not either. I just went. I went with Kaylee. I went with Peyton Williams, one of our old producers now on the digital team, and oh my gosh, was it scary? I was screaming the whole time. So
even when I was in high school and college, I didn't go to some of these things. I just didn't.
People like it. More power to you.
Yeah, go for it. So it's all tonight. Grab that extra money from your mom and dad. Get out there. And we've got that list that kind of tells you where they are generally, and if anybody knows of any more, you can also message us. That's our bonus story of the week.
All righty. Thanks so much.
Spooky.
It's spooky season's here. All right. Thanks, Shannon. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 7:41 now on this Friday morning. We do have air quality alerts for the first time that I've ever seen in our viewing area for Washington, Nevada, and Craig counties. These will run through today, and it's for ozone that is settling at the surface. Now, up in the sky, ozone's fine, but down here can cause issues for those with respiratory problems. It can also damage vegetation, so do make sure you're taking precautions out there. And we have other stations, though, still reporting moderate air quality across a good portion of the area. So if you are a little more sensitive, you want to make sure that you're taking precautions out there as well today. So even though the weather looks nice, it's warm, the air quality is not fantastic in some locations. We will have southwest winds today at 5 to 10 miles an hour. We have a cold front that'll push through a little later. We really won't notice it, but it will push through, and we'll still be above average today, tonight, and we'll be 10 to 15 degrees above normal tomorrow. Winds will pick up a bit, though, out of the south tomorrow. Occasionally gusting upwards of 20. And then like we've seen the last couple of days that the winds have gusted, they'll start to die down later in the evening. Overnight Sunday and the early Sunday morning comes another cold front. Now, the only thing we're going to notice here, there's two things, actually. One, winds will shift out of the north behind this one. Two, if you're a little further north, you're going to be a little cooler. Now, unfortunately, we're all still going to be above average, but as you can see, we're almost right along the 54 corridor. You're only going to be maybe 5 or 6 degrees above normal. Now, as you get a little further south, yeah, you've got that north wind, and yeah, you're not as hot as we've been today, tomorrow, and what we were yesterday. You're still going to be well above average, 10, 12 degrees above normal. So again, it won't make a noticeable difference, but it will cool us back just a few degrees out there. We're at 63 in Joplin right now, south-southeast breeze at 7. The sun is rising, and of course, skies are clear. It looks great outside. There's that first cold front that'll come through later this evening that we, again, really won't notice, and it's not having any impact, of course, this morning either. Upper 50s and low 60s as we get this day started across the region. We'll start with those mid-60s, sunny skies, not bad initially, and then we warm up pretty quickly into the low 80s by 11 o'clock this morning, ahead of highs once again into the upper 80s and low 90s across the area. So just another hot day out there. Temperatures tonight, 10, 12 degrees above normal, mild through the evening, mid-70s by 10, overnight lows into the low to mid-60s out there. And then as we head down the road over the next 10 days, hot again tomorrow, low 90s, mid-80s Sunday for most of us. Then we all cool back a little bit Monday. So Sunday night into Monday, we're actually be relatively close to normal for our low. Not quite normal, but not that bad on Monday. However, temperatures will start to heat up again next week, back into the upper 80s and low 90s. But we're looking at a little more moisture return out there, and at least gives us some slight chances of maybe some pop-up showers and thunderstorms as we head through next week. So at least some chance of rain, as we've been mentioning, is better than no chance of rain. That's a check of your forecast. I'm going to toss it over to Elise with Consumer Watch.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, a test run way to file taxes for people in limited tax situations becomes permanent. The IRS has fully adopted its free direct file tax filing service and is expanding it to 12 states. From 12 states to 24 states for 2025 filings. Now, last year's trial one for filers is simplified situations. This year's service will add more situations such as additional child and elderly credits, credits for elderly and disabled, saving contribution credits, student loan, and educator expenses. The state of Texas goes after a popular social media platform, accusing it of violating children's privacy. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has filed a lawsuit against TikTok, claiming the social media giant is sharing personal data of minors without parental consent, which violates the state's parental consent law known as the SCOPE Act. Now, the lawsuit seeks to impose a $10,000 fine against TikTok for every violation committed. TikTok, which is owned by Chinese company ByteDance, hasn't commented on the suit. Tesla issues its 5th recall of the year for its Cybertruck. Now, the recall covers more than 27,000 Cybertrucks from 2024. The automaker says an image delay on rear-view cameras could result in a crash. The issue impacts the most vehicles compared to the 4 previous recalls since January. The company is fixing the issue through a software update. And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Well, it was National Custodian Day this last Tuesday, and in Rhode Island, a longtime school custodian is also quite the entertainer.
As Sam Reed tells us, there's even a day dedicated to him and his performance.
Through the doors of Vartan Gregorian Elementary School in Providence, longtime custodian Freddie Bucci is busy getting things cleaned in the cafeteria.
He goes really above his role.
Ahead of lunch.
I come in and take pride in my work.
For 25 years, he's made a home here and quite the name for himself.
When I came to Varton, the first person that I heard about was Mr. Freddie.
And if you're wondering why students are scurrying through the lunch line, it's because all of them are eager.
I like his Freddie Fridays a lot.
For what's to come.
Everyone's face glows up when they hear, "Oh, it's Freddie Friday time."
While kids munch away on lunch, Freddie is getting ready.
The kids definitely look forward to Friday lunchtime to see what Freddie has up his sleeve.
Because for the past 5 years, at the end of each week,
He started Freddie Fridays in first grade.
this day is dubbed Freddie Fridays.
When the t-shirts started being made, that's when I knew he was making it big.
Today we're going to start with Mr. Freddie Friday.
Using his custodial tools, he comes up with tricks.
I get the ideas in my head. What can I use, you know? 1, 2, 3.
And then he puts on a performance for both lunch periods.
And really is one big factor on why kids want to come to school, because they want to see Mr. Freddie and they want to see what the show was all about on a Friday.
Freddie, who was coincidentally born on a Friday, says waiting to clean up after kids got old.
The cafeteria gets boring in here. They're in here, you know, they may wait for a spill or something. So I threw a couple bags up in the air. All of a sudden, the kids got like, oh, wow!
And that's when he put things into motion. To date, he's put on well over 100 performances.
I was just like really surprised.
And they're absolutely adored by all.
To make us happy.
And does he?
Yeah, really much.
Of course, he doesn't have to do this. But Freddie says he enjoys it equally as much.
Priceless. If I can make someone else's day better, why not? I feel even better, you know?
When it's all over, it's right back to work.
How was that pizza, good?
And as the kids head to their classrooms to learn lessons from their teachers, they know there's someone special who cares equally as much.
He's not like everyone else. I think we are really lucky that we get to have him as a janitor.
Freddie's the best janitor in the whole wide world.
National Custodian Day is celebrated annually every October 2nd.
Now hold on, because I know that October 2nd was not Tuesday.
I know, but we said
I've
Tuesday
been
earlier.
on Tuesday all week long, and I know that wasn't the case. Now I'm confused.
Maybe people in Rhode Island are in a different calendar than we are.
It's a possibility. They're the small state. They can do what they want.
They can.
Whatever Rhode Island wants is whatever Rhode Island gets. And we've got some weather to talk about in our area, beginning with air quality alerts again for Washington, Nevada, and Craig counties through today. Ozone levels are settling at the surface, which can cause problems for folks with respiratory issues and can damage vegetation. So check online for some tips on what you can do to help out. And we do have other stations reporting moderate air quality. So again, that's something you want to keep in mind for today. We'll have southwest winds around 5 to 10 miles an hour today. We have a cold front coming through this evening. We will not notice it, but it will push through. We'll still be 10 to 15 degrees above normal today. Above normal again tonight. This pattern repeats tomorrow. The only difference is we have the south winds starting to gust upwards of 20 miles an hour at times, and then it'll start to ease up again by the evening. Early Sunday, another cold front comes through, brings in northerly winds, keeps our northern counties a little cooler, but still above normal. Down south, again, a few degrees cooler, but still another hot day for us. We'll have another look at your forecast and the news you need to know when we come back.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Joplin police released new information on a crash stemming from a traffic stop on Wednesday. Authorities say the driver, Dakota Bell of Alba, Missouri, is now formally charged with aggravated fleeing a stop, felony DWI, and persistent and felony possession of drug paraphernalia. Now, the passenger, Jessica Van Kirk of Webb City, was arrested on active felony probation violation warrants for drug-related charges. The Gordon Parks Museum celebration kicked off at Fort Scott Community College in Kansas yesterday. Parks grew up in Fort Scott and is remembered as the first African-American photographer to work with Vogue and Life magazines. The event runs through Saturday. The 41st annual Grand Lake Pelican Festival takes flight in Grove, Oklahoma this week. The event celebrates the annual fall migration of the American white pelicans' return to Grand Lake of the Cherokees. The three-day event kicked off last night with a carnival. The event will have plenty of fun for the whole family.
And we've got another above normal day today with our temperatures back into the upper 80s and low 90s. We'll have that southwest wind around 5 to 10 miles an hour. Clear skies, and they'll continue into the evening and overnight, and above normal again back into the low to mid 60s. We'll be hot tomorrow as well. Low 90s, breezy. Mid 80s Sunday, a little cooler Monday, but still above normal. But our low Sunday night into Monday is going to be close to average. Temperatures start rising again next week, but humidity levels will come up a bit and give us an opportunity at least for some isolated shower and thunderstorm chances out there. So the chances are low, but at least there's some kind of rain starting to show up on the forecast.
Alrighty. Well, Bernie Sanders has finally met his match, according to one of his advisors, at table tennis, at least. Well, footage released by Sanders' advisor, Jeremy Slevin, shows the Vermont senator sparring with a young opponent who pings the ball right past him across the net.
Now, Sanders appeared at several events in Austin on Wednesday, including a rally for Beto O'Rourke and Greg Cassar. So it looks like a lot of fun.
Yes, absolutely. It's pretty good.
Just to remember, regardless, you got to play table tennis with Bernie Sanders.
Certainly.
Well, thank you all so much for letting us put the good into your morning. We will be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.